Isildur! Cast it into the fire! Oh, I beg your pardon. Never mind. I forgot not everyone can see into the future. The sea looks lovely, doesn't it? I quite fancy a swim. Yeah, I'd stay clear of swimming if I were you. What does that mean? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Oh, awkward. Sun's about to come up. Ooh, how can you tell? I'll be able to see it for about an hour. Hellfires and all that. Also, I'm a woman. What's that got to do with it? Shut it, misogynist. Oh. Isildur, get below deck and sweep those stables. Yes, Captain. Well, nice to meet you. So, who'd you borrow the armour from? A hobbit.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I'm not exactly sure why the showrunners for the Rings of Power came out now and decided, hey, well, things have kind of calmed down a little bit, so we're going to reignite this, like, Tolkien fan versus Amazon feud. But that's exactly what they did. After being endlessly crushed by the non-mainstream media, the new media, they decided they were going to run to The Hollywood Reporter and do some sort of weird whack cry piece about how they just couldn't understand why nobody liked their show and that it was, quote, pure evil. They said people that they literally called the people that didn't like their show pure evil. I'm not kidding. So, and by the way, I'm reminding people all day, if you haven't yet, please head on over to thequartering.com. By the way, I always post my videos here. They're up like a little bit later than when I release them on various platforms. But the important thing is, by the way, Gilded link is here so you can chat with other viewers. Please sign up to the newsletter. I only email maybe once every month or two, so it's not something that you should expect a ton of emails from. But there's scary times here for non-mainstream content creators. And so I want to be able to try and reach people. Should I be deplatformed or should I be locked out of an account? So please do head on over here, put your email address in, hit subscribe, then open your email and confirm the subscription. I won't be sending you spam to buy stuff and all that kind of stuff. So please do sign up. The Rings of Power showrunners break silence on Backlash, Sauron, and Season 2. This is where everything happens, says showrunner Patrick McKay, The War Room. The large windowless room centerpiece is a lengthy conference table, but your eyes are immediately transfixed on what's covering the walls. You're surrounded by concept art, laying out major set pieces for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2. Showrunners McKay and J.D. Payne give a walkthrough of the sequence. They plan to introduce more iconic locations, that's what we need, Middle-earth characters, a massive 2-episode battle. This is obviously top secret stuff. No media has been allowed in the fantasy's drama set, let alone this room. But the showrunners wanted to give the world a peek behind the curtain to reveal what it's like to manage the biggest TV series ever produced. Since Amazon's billion-dollar high fantasy launched on September 2nd, The Rings of Power has been blessed with strong critical acclaim, 84%. That's not even that good. And dragged by online fans, bashing its audience score to 39%, which includes an unknown degree of review brigading at the hands of internet trolls. The show's Nielsen viewership is formidable. Its first 2 episodes were seen by 12.6 million United States viewers in its first 4 days. That is a big number, okay? What I really want to see is, you know, episodes 3 and 4, episodes 5 and 6. I suspect as much as a 25% drop off in viewership, maybe more. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Some of what's been hardest to hear is the cynical point of view that it's a cash grab. McKay said, it's like, oh my God, it's the opposite. It's the most earnest production that's not a paycheck job for anybody. This is a labor of love. Oh, are they all working for free? If I looked up your salary, would it be less than 9 figures? Okay, 8 figures? No, 7 figures probably. He's making millions for sure to run the show. There's no doubt. So let's not pretend that you're just doing this out of the kindness of your heart. Like, sit down. The call from lawyers came in Amazon on Friday. The Tolkien estate was going to entertain proposals for the Lord of the Rings show, Prime Video, along with other entertainment company that was looking for the next Game of Thrones. Amazon's founder and chairman, Jeff Bezos, a longtime Tolkien fan. Going after Lord of the Rings was a no-brainer. Yeah, sources say HBO pitched the estate on retelling Middle-earth's Third Age, essentially remaking Peter Jackson's beloved Lord of the Rings trilogy, which grossed $3 billion and won 17 Oscars. The estate had its gripes with Jackson's adaptations, but it wasn't interested in treading the same ground. Netflix pitched doing several new shows, such as a Gandalf series and an Aragorn drama. They took the Marvel approach, said one insider to the talks, and that completely freaked out the estate. Amazon's team at the time was led by Don't Care, wooed the estate with not a specific pitch, but a pledge of a close relationship, blah, 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 blah. Don't care. We all know that it was the $250 million that mattered most to the Tolkien estate. There's just there's absolutely no other way about it. So the duo walked in the second Amazon meeting. Executives interviewed dozens of writers. Yet the deciding factor was a fleshed out story and passion and depth of knowledge for Tolkien's world. Sure. Maybe. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. Some people had nice things to say about the pilot and the second episode, or they didn't have nice things to say. But I hope they stay for more episodes, McKay says. The bar has to keep going up. Criticism they can handle. They've heard it all. Everything fans have debated, they say, like otherwise argued among the creative team. They really admit, for instance, some of the first seasons lacked the urgency fans expected from Tolkien adaptations. One of the big things we learned was even when it's a small scene, it always has to tie back to the larger stakes. There are things that didn't work well in season 1 that might have worked in a smaller show. McKay agrees. It has to be about good and evil and the fate of the world, or it doesn't have the epic feeling you want when you're in Tolkien. Fair enough. Fair enough. Hopefully they do take that criticism. Some things get an immense amount of critical acclaim and win tons of awards and are forgotten the next year. Conversely, some things don't get a lot of love, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing. Amazon botched this launch. They did not ingratiate themselves to Tolkien fans at all, to be honest with you. You could say one fan's complaint, a Tolkien adaptation is a new age, politically correct girl power garbage version of a fantasy. That's screwing the text. That sounds like what's populating Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb right now, but it was actually quoted in Wired magazine in 2001, story about Tolkien's fandom's reaction to Jackson's Fellowship of the Ring. There is this narrative in media that people didn't meme on, or that hardcore Tolkien fans just all universally loved the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's not true. Payne looks distressed by the topic. Quote, the spirit of Tolkien is about disparate people who don't trust one another and look different from one another, finding common ground in a friendship and accomplishing things, he says. That's the spirit we've tried to inoculate into every single comma, every single part of the show. That's the aspiration would be offensive to people and enrage them. It's very hard for us to understand. What are they protecting? This is talking about fans who didn't like the show. I don't see how people who are saying these things think that they're fighting for good. There's a line in episode 7 where Guy Ladriel says that every war is fought from, without, and within. Even if you're fighting for something you think is good, if you do something worse in that fight, then you become evil. I don't see how people who are saying these things think they're fighting for good. It's patently evil. Nielsen ratings released September 29th. He's calling fans who criticize the show patently evil, by the way. Painted a highly successful launch, roughly compatible with Dragon. Precise comparisons are nearly impossible. One industry insider familiar with Amazon's inner workings suggests other fantasy shows' performance is more anxiously followed than the company lets on. That's House of the Dragon. It was never about critics. It's about the consumers, the insider says. All Jeff cares about is the consumer obsession. If you look at the history of Amazon, every division lived and died based on that. I mean, that's fair. You see, Galadriel looks a little off, but how exactly? Actress Morphin Clark, clad in sleek new costume for season 2, and sports elaborate braidwork that would make Princess Leia envious. Leaving her coffee behind, she stands for the camera, test as Payne and McKay suggest changes. Is her quiver of arrows bunched weird? Does the color of the bandolier make her look like a crossing guard? I mean, I don't care about any of this stuff. What you end up getting out of this article is Lord of the Rings Rings of Power showrunners discuss patently evil backlash to the show. I don't really know, this. You see, the spirit of Tolkien is about disparate people. I don't see how people. It's like they expect you that if you don't like the Rings of Power, then you're patently evil. You couldn't possibly not like the Rings of Power. I mean, they are pushing forward. They are pushing forward season 2, and I think it's because they know that viewers are bored. That viewers really just want something to happen. And I will admit, this last episode was a lot more interesting. It was. And like, I know that there are people that just say, oh, the show's garbage, it's always going to be garbage. That's probably true. It's probably true. But I'm looking at it a little differently in that I want the show to be good. I want the show to get better. I want the show to be awesome for Tolkien fans, fans of the book, fans of the trilogy. I want them to all really like the series. And that can't be possible unless they get their stuff together, unless they get like some idea of what the heck fans actually want. And the fact of the matter is, season 1 proved they didn't. But it does seem like they listened. They understand a little bit of where they fell short in season 1. And I think that's why they're pushing forward season 2 sooner than expected. You see, the Lord of the Rings Power season 2 date could be sooner than expected. That's because I think they know they need to get it out there. Now, a day after Rings of Power season 2 started filming, which was yesterday, the head of Amazon Studios offering an update on release. Per Variety, Jennifer Salke says that the production team is working quickly to finish season 2 as fast as they can. She also revealed they desire to have the shortest time possible between seasons without suffering a decrease in quality. Based on Salke's comments, it sounds like Amazon Studios is fast-tracking Rings of Power Season 2 and working tirelessly to get it out for audiences as soon as possible. This is hardly a surprise given the show's first official Nielsen ratings, which were released and revealed the Rings of Power had topped the streaming charts. Now, I assume that they just can't, like with Game of Thrones and, these long downtimes between seasons, it sort of works when you have the binge model, but now that you don't have the binge model anymore, people will forget about the show, and I think Amazon knows that. And I hope that they're eager to correct things and get things in order. I think that would start with less Galadriel, a lot less of her, or a complete rewrite, but I actually think it's unsalvageable at this point because we've had 6 episodes of her trash. I just don't think that... I think that you need to uplift some other characters. People need more action, more epicness. And if that means you get it in season 2, I'm actually happy to hear that. But I'm not sure calling fans who criticize your show evil was a great move either. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it and you click that red subscribe button down below. Don't forget to sign up for the mailing list today. I would greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again real soon.